Hello everyone, my name is Stuart and I'm joined by Counterfeit, and welcome to the TFT Interviews, where we'll be talking with some of the most interesting TFT personalities in the scene.
During these interviews, we'll be trying to dig into each person's journey up until now and give you the stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Today we'll be talking to Kevin Parker, an established and consistent EMEA TFT competitor who most recently finished second in a Las Vegas Open.
Amongst other things, we'll be talking about his background, how he nearly didn't make it to the event, that YONE moment that traveled around the world, and why he should be one of your players to watch for the next TFT Global Championship.
If there are any TFT players or personalities you think we should interview, let us know down in the comments. All right, first of all, Kevin, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you taking your time out. I know it's a busy period for yourself with GSC just around the corner and everything as well. At the start, we kind of want to talk about, baby Kevin Parker. Let's talk about what happened, pre-Vegas and maybe the start of TFT for you. How did you find out about TFT and kind of who introduced you to the game in general?
Yeah, so I was a League of Legends player at first. So I heard of the game like immediately when it came out, but I was hesitant to try it out because I hadn't played Dota Auto Chess, and most of the people came from that. So, but I was actually a Hearthstone player before TFT, and I was also like reaching high legend ranks there. So like I always had a competitive nature when it came to video games in general. And then one day, my favorite Hearthstone streamer, Dog, was streaming TFT because I always came home, like turned my PC on, turned his stream on, and started playing Hearthstone. But then one day he was playing TFT, and it looked really fun. So yeah, I think I like tried it out the same day and was hooked immediately. And yeah, ever since then, TFT has been the game for me.
So from there then, how did you kind of go from being first introduced to the game, trying out for yourself? When did you make the leap to actually taking part in TFT competition?
So my first like competitive tournament was in Set 5. I qualified to it through Set 4. It was called the Star Cup. It was like a pretty minor thing. Where like four of the best players from like the big EU countries, based on ladder, were invited to this tournament, and I think we played 4 or 5 games, but it was in Set 5, like at the start of Set 5. And I remember I only top 4'd one single game, but I mean, yeah, it was fun. Like I wasn't really expecting to like to perform that well or anything. I was just like happy to be a part of it, basically. And I was still playing on like an old laptop at the time as well, like an old HP laptop, which I was like playing with 15 FPS on. So yeah, but at the time, like You Better Know Me, he's a German caster who cast the event at the time, and he asked me like a couple questions beforehand, and I was like, soon I'm gonna have a good computer and I'm gonna start streaming. And yeah, that's what I did.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how you started streaming TFT?
Yeah, so my friends from school, when they found out that I was like high rank in TFT, a couple of them were like, you should start streaming just for fun. Like why not? And at first I was like, I don't want to. Like I just want to like chill by myself and just play by myself. And like I was kind of lazy about it, really. I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm not the type of person to stream. And then I don't know, they kept trying to push me, like 2 or 3 of my friends specifically. And at some point, yeah, I started. It was like just for fun at first, just like try it out, see how it feels. And at first I actually started streaming in English as well, even though I had like no viewers, like 1 or 2 viewers. I still wanted to stream in English because I love talking in English, but I wasn't really getting any viewers when I was streaming in English. And yeah, it just wasn't really taking off. So then at some point, Manio told me that I should stream in German because like there's kind of like there's not really like really high rank German players other than Solo Gesang. So he was like, if you start streaming in German and show your rank and everything, like you will start getting viewers like a lot faster. And I trusted in him, and yeah, I mean it was more true than I could have imagined. Like after just a couple of months, I think I already like reached 100 viewers for the first time, which was in
Dang.
set 6. Yeah, before that I was just like sitting on like 3 to 5 viewers for like the first 1 or 2 months where I was streaming in English. And after Vegas, I thought to myself, like already before Vegas, like I had this thought where like I could start streaming in English again, because like all the German viewers are gonna stay, and I'm just gonna like expand my audience to like other countries as well. And after Vegas, since like I guess people like started knowing who I am, I figured why not start streaming in English, so those people can actually watch my stream and stay.
I'm actually curious, like, did you get your kind of computer before set 6 then? Because your kind of first, I guess, competitive set was really, Gizmos and Gadgets set 6. That was your first like kind of record in terms of your TFT competitive history, was back in 2021. You came 54th out of 128 people in your first event. So, how did that go in terms of your expectations for your first kind of full set coming in competitively?
I mean, set 6 was for me the best set so far up until that point. Maybe apart from like set 1, because like set 1 will always hold a special place in my heart, I guess. But yeah, I thought set 6 was great. That's where they introduced augments. Like that's when TFT basically became what it is today. I just loved the set, really. Like my favorite units were Yone and Fiora. I thought those were a lot of fun. Like the Academy trade in general, just the design of the set in general as well. But yeah, the first GSC, I definitely didn't expect to perform so well. I think later in set 6, I even had a better performance, right? Or was that already in set 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If my memory serves correctly, we got 7th in the final GSC.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
ultimately make it to the regionals there, but got relatively close.
Yeah, I got
think
like
so.
really close. Yeah.
I think so. I think Dragonlance was about the same for you, but Monsters Attack, you started getting the top 20s quite consistently, which led to your first regional finals. And I know Stuart's got a tough question about that.
Yeah, it was I think regional finals was a bit of a tough one for you, back in set 8 with Monsters Attack, because you finished 7th, like just outside of that LCQ spot, which Lusher actually was just outside as well. Talk to us about that feeling of going to your first regional finals and kind of just missing out on getting the opportunity to go to kind of your first Worlds back then.
In set 8, I was definitely nervous because Worlds was on the line, and like my dream, like many others' dream, is it to go to Worlds. I was just kind of dumbfounded. I even made it to day 3. There's all these amazing players in that competition every set. It's like day 3 started off so well for me. I went first in the first game, and then like the next couple of games went like pretty well too. I think I was like second or tied for second place after 4 games. And then yeah, the last 2 games were really bad. I went 7-8, I think. It felt bad, obviously. Like it was like I could almost taste it already. It was so close to me. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like of course I was sad at first, but I think after all, it motivated me to do better.
Well, I mean, going on from Monster Attack, also, that was a still very good showing if you didn't ultimately make it to the LCQ. But it did feel like Runeterra Reforged definitely wasn't your set so much. Was there a particular reason that you weren't able to reach the same kind of peaks as from Monsters Attack? And did that affect your motivation at all?
Yeah, honestly, I just didn't enjoy the Runeterra Reforged like set mechanic that much. I mean the portals were fun, but like sometimes they were a bit too fun. Like they also they were they were making room for like a lot more variance, which is, I mean, it can be fun, but it can also be like stressful for a competitive player because more variance always means that you can get unlucky. Um, but I don't know. I think I just like didn't have a good start into the set. Like I wasn't having fun at the start, especially. And I think sometimes I do the thing at the start of sets where I like play the game too much and try to get good too fast, and I kind of get like burnt out a little bit. And it was definitely the case in set 9.
I mean, even though for yourself it was, you wasn't able to reach regional finals for, compared to something like Monsters Attack. In terms of, Germany as a country anyway, it was, a really, really big set for Germany, seeing the likes of, Wet Jungler and players making it to Worlds as well, with you just kind of you and Lusher just missing out on Worlds just a few sets ago to now 2 people getting into the world championships. How did that feel like for you, and kind of what was the reaction as well from the German community seeing some of the German faces back on the world scene?
Oh, yeah, it was really exciting for sure. I mean, there's never been two German contestants at Worlds, so it was a first time thing, and also it was a first time thing that we could actually watch the players live, right? Like me and my girlfriend went to Berlin and watched them live at the level, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like it was exciting, really. Like I felt for them like it was myself playing, especially because like I've known Wet Jungler and Dark Hydra for a pretty long time. I actually played like the first tournament I was talking about earlier, the Star Cup. Wet Jungler was also playing in that, so yeah, it was great. I mean, Wet Jungler making it so far, like to day 3 at all, and then coming second overall, like it was really impressive. But I mean, like I knew Wet Jungler had that potential because like he's been performing like crazy this last entire year, really. I think he played 5 GSCs and like made it to day 3 most of them, and uh yeah, he's always like really high on ladder as well. There was like one set where he was like uncontested rank 1 the entire set basically. um and yeah, Dark Hydra it's obviously great seeing Dark Hydra like come back to fruition, I guess, like from his earlier days.
No, I mean, certainly having seen some videos, I know Weta posted up some videos from the event itself. It looked like the crowd, of course, including everyone there, were really, really excited. So
Yeah, we were. We were all yelling when we found out that Volta and Wet Jungler made it to day 2 or day 3. Yeah.
it was definitely, I think, way above everyone's expectations. But let's start moving on to the main event here. Let's talk a bit about the TFT LAN in Vegas. So let's kind of run through your story getting there from the beginning. From what I understand, you weren't initially expecting to go, and you were flown out on short notice. So how does that affect your mentality and to go into such a high stakes event with such minimal time to prepare?
The thing was like I knew that most other people had almost no time to prepare as well. So I mean, especially the EU players, because the patch came out on the day of everyone's flight. I guess the NA players might have had like 1 day or like 1.5 to practice. So maybe like the NA players had a like slight edge on us. But I mean, I actually felt like pretty clueless about the patch. But at the pre-party, actually before day 1, day 0, we went to the pre-party, even though we didn't have tickets, by the way, but they still let us in. I got to talk to Karamex for the first time. We VOD reviewed before Worlds together. But besides that, I mean, we've never met, obviously. So yeah, I mean, first of all, it was great meeting him. He's like one of my favorite streamers of all time, really. And I talked to him about the patch, and Kerm can be like or like the way he describes comps and units is like very definitive, like, oh, this is garbage and this is broken. So it was actually really useful talking to him, because like I immediately had like a good outlook on what I should probably not play and what I should consider. And yeah, I mean that's like really the only prep I had. I played 2 games at the pre-party as well while the DJ was playing.
A proper way to have a
I
party, I guess, isn't it?
I mean,
TFT.
those were my first 2 games. Like I had 0 games on the patch before, so I thought to myself like if I have the opportunity, might as well. Like I think it helped a little bit, because Kern was sitting next to me as well and was like giving me input. I mean, that's like the only prep I had though. I watched like maybe like an hour or 2 of streams and VODs at the hotel. I think you only really learn a lot through VODs when you've also played yourself, like at least a little bit. So like all the lines and possibilities. So yeah, I mean it's the tournament that I've been least prepared for ever, which is probably the same for a lot of other players. It's also my most successful tournament of all time, so I don't know what that says about me, but yeah.
But yeah, most people would say what kind of happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but your kind of start to Vegas, before we get into the kind of what happened in terms of the games as well, you put out this tweet about how it was a bit it wasn't the best start to Vegas. I mean, talk to us about what how this felt, and obviously your mind's probably going through so much with trying to learn the set, trying to learn the the new patch and everything, and then this happens as well. This must have been really difficult to try and wrap your head around.
Oh yeah, it was. I was just like kind of panicking at first, because yeah, I didn't put really anything in my backpack at all, like none of the necessities that I might need, because it's like fluids as well, like a toothpaste and stuff like that. I didn't want to put that in my backpack, so yeah, I also didn't have a single set of clothes in my backpack, so the first day after I arrived, I just walked around in the same clothes that I had on the flight, and I went out to like buy some shirts, so I have at least something, yeah, I was just like missing everything really. It was pretty bad. And then also I checked into the hotel, and apparently I had to like activate my credit card beforehand when I was still in Germany, and I didn't do that, so it didn't work over there. I've never had a credit card. I only got one like specifically for this trip, so I didn't really know how it works. Yeah, so then I had to withdraw cash from the ATM and like pay in cash. Like everywhere I went, I paid in cash because I had no other option really. And yeah, no deodorant. So I was like, and I was still wearing my old clothes. Like I was probably smelling pretty bad.
Yes, people knew that when you were coming into a room.
Yeah. So I mean, like the first morning, I just went out with Selvi, Hayden, and Hydra, and we like got some breakfast, and then I went to buy some clothes. Yeah, and then the next day, fortunately, my luggage arrived like on the day of day 1, so yeah, I was still able to get my stuff in time.
I think the thing was, like, when I saw that tweet initially, yeah, my heart sunk for you because I've been in a similar position myself.
Oh yeah.
But the amount of people who sort of came out and was like, and were offering to help, and to lend you money if you needed it and things.
Yeah.
And then 24 hours later, like we got on the screen here, your luggage arrived, as you said, and it seems like a pretty big change in mood from the previous day. So were you able to kind of get completely in the right headspace heading into the tournament?
Yeah, I think I was. I actually slept pretty well too, like this day before the tournament. I always say sleep is like pretty important when it comes to tournaments. I mean, obviously, like sleep is always important. So yeah, I was feeling pretty good after I I opened my email after I woke up and realized that my luggage is there. So yeah, I was actually able to put on some nice clothes, some of the TFT merch that I got for Remix Rumble. I came to the tournament like dripped out in TFT merch basically. So yeah, it was like I felt pretty confident. So I mean, I just wanted to not get day one, right? Like with this format in this tourney, it was 75% gone after day one, which I didn't even really realize at first because I tried to like not read up too much on the tournament so I wouldn't like get more nervous. Um, but like I knew that it was like a knockout format. But yeah, I didn't know 75% of players were gonna drop out on day one. So um with all the good players being there, like obviously like all the NA streamers and like a lot of EU players, even Chinese players,
Yeah.
Korean players being there, that I even know. Like yeah, I just wanted to not get day one like everyone else. And yeah, I made it.
I mean, given that you did finish so well on day one, did that, what was the preparation process for you going into day two? Were you locked in your room just going through VODs endlessly, or was it again trying to just keep your mind as clear as possible?
Yeah, I was actually watching some Soju VODs after day one, because like I don't know, I don't really watch like Soju to learn unless he's like really good, because like sometimes he's actually like really good at the game. Like people trash talk Soju all the time, but like sometimes like when he wants to, he can actually be really good at the game. Um, Going into Vegas, I don't think he was like that good, but there were good players and casters watching his games, right? Like he was not
Mm.
doing the commentary himself. It was just his games, and they were talking about his game, like basically VOD reviewing it throughout, which was pretty useful. I think there was Goobums in there, for example. Goobums, Bryce, and Frodan is what I
Mm.
what I watched like in the first one or two games. And yeah, I think I definitely learned something from that. Like they were talking about a lot of different stuff. Like for example, like Goobum said something about like true damage Akali being like good with 40 AP because like her ability scales with AP in terms of like her mana refund. Like that's something I didn't know, for example.
Oh, right.
Um, yeah, and yeah, that was definitely useful for me. Just I think watching anything about the patch where like people analyze games on the patch was really useful because yeah, I've just had lack of experience. I couldn't watch my own games, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have done that. I thought it was kind of unfortunate that we like couldn't record our games or anything and like watch them back. Like I was feeling pretty confident going into day two, but only because I already saw my first lobby on day one and I didn't recognize a single name. So that kind of like boosted my confidence. Like, oh, I dodged all the good players, is what I was thinking. Obviously that like there can always be good players that I don't know.
I mean, that must have been really, really, it was really close in general, but like you said, with I think how the competition and how the format was, it probably might have changed your sort of play style as well.
Mhm.
Talk us through that final moment though on day two. I think there's a really good picture of you, kind of realizing that you made it to day number 3. You actually finished top in your final lobby with actually Noel in that lobby as well, also from EMEA. So talk us through how that feeling was of making it to day number 3.
Yeah, that lobby was so fucking close. Like that was definitely the closest lobby I had played throughout the tournament. I I think I had like 1 point more than Noel, and then Lyris and Noel had same points, and Noel won in tiebreaker. It really came down to the last game. Like it was looking pretty good for me. I looked at the scores before the last game, and I was like, okay, I need to outplace this guy by this much and this guy by this much, and it kind of just all like lined up pretty well. I mean, you can't really affect other people's placements that much without like griefing yourself. Like you can't like hold all their units because then you grief yourself as well. So you kind of have to like stay focused on your own game and just not think about the others too much. I think that went pretty well for me. I don't remember my exact placement in the last game. I think it was like fourth or third or something. Which I was kind of like shaking at first because I didn't know if that was gonna be enough. But I saw that like Lyra's placed, I think, 2 or 3 placements below me, and Matt, who was also like in competition to make it, went like 7th, I think. I was kind of shaking at first, but then I looked at all the placements and I was like, wait, this should be enough, right? I went up to Noel and I was like, wait, I made it, right? And he was like, yeah, we both made it, and I almost couldn't believe it at first. Like I had to like process it for like a minute or two. Yeah, it was a surreal feeling, really.
But I mean, yeah. So going into the final day, of course, I think the situation which was definitely not anticipated, being that we had the even split between EMEA players and NA players. Was there any sort of sense of camaraderie between the 4 of you coming in from EMEA? Did you talk to each other at all before, coming into the final checkmate?
I mean, we talked to each other like a little bit. We didn't really have that much time, but I mean, after day 2, it was done at like 6:30 or 7 or something, at the time there. And after that, they told us we have to like record interviews and take photos and all that. So that was like another 2 or 3 hours. Actually, it took kind of long. Like we all kind of just wanted to chill, I think. But I mean, they have to do what they have to do, of course. So we, like, while we waited for our interviews and photos to be taken, we kind of chatted with each other a little bit. And yeah, it was really nice meeting everyone, obviously, like especially like Double. Like just because Double is just a legend in EMEA, really. And he's like a super chill guy in real life as well. Like he's kind of like exactly how I would have pictured him. Like he's really quiet, and he's like, I don't know, he's just really like held back, quiet guy. Which, yeah, I don't know. It just suits him. And we talked to, I think we actually talked to more of the NA players, like at the end of the day, like Zaza and me, because we were waiting for the longest time with Milala and Humbug. So we just like talked about, like, Milala asked like who's like the GOAT of EU, and we were like, or who do you think is the GOAT of NA? And like we talked about like all kinds of stuff, really, just about competitive TFT, like the differences of EU and NA. Yeah, I mean, 4 EU versus 4 NA players is like, like there couldn't have been a better script, really.
Going into the game where Broccoli was on check and was the only person on check, what was the kind of the general feeling around the table for people? Was there an atmosphere of people thinking it was going to be another title like run through the finals where someone just comes in and just smashes everyone immediately?
We didn't really like the players didn't really talk much to each other, like between the games, because the breaks were pretty short, and like usually everyone would just like go on a bathroom break, and maybe we would say like a couple words to each other. But yeah, we didn't have that much time to talk, so I don't know what the atmosphere was for the others. But I mean, for me, I was definitely like paying very close attention to Broccoli that game. Because yeah, it was more the fact that I just didn't want it to be over after 4 games, rather than me wanting to win. It was more like, I mean, I don't want it to be over already. I want an exciting tournament. So did everyone else. So yeah, obviously I was really happy that I saved the tournament in game 4.
I mean, yeah, let's get into that, because I mean,
Yeah.
of course, there are those moments that resonate through TFT's history. I think in Vegas, I think very legitimately we can say you made one of those for yourselves. It was just say, Broccoli, the only person able to win 100,000 in that game, and for you to be the person standing this way, could you talk to us about that YONE moment?
Yeah, I mean, that game was really close. I was still pushing 9, like in the last couple rounds leading up to this last fight. Like trying to get an Ilaoi in. Actually, like Ilaoi is exactly what I was looking for to like block the Caitlyn ults, which I think made quite a big difference at the end as well. And I mean, yeah, this moment was just like surreal. I don't know. I was actually I looked pretty calm on the cam at the top left there, like up until the last moment. Like I was actually like I was just so focused, like I was so tunnel visioned on Yone and like what I mean. I know, like I knew that Yone can like do some crazy 1v9 things, you know. So yeah, I was just intently looking at Yone and what he does and where he's going. And honestly, I think Double was like freaking out way more than me because like Double.
What did he say to you? I just saw in that footage there that he said something to you just after the end of the round.
Double was sitting on my left, and like before the game was even over, I just like saw at the corner of my eye like him like yelling at the screen and like with his arms flying around and like come on Yone, what the fuck are you doing? And yeah, that was fun for sure. And I mean, after the game, I don't remember exactly what we said to each other, but like yeah, I think we were just like acknowledging how crazy that fight was, and like yeah, I think we were just both thinking, you know, that I had lost, which almost happened. Like it was extremely close. Like it was only like one or two auto attacks, I think, and then the Yone healed back to full, which yeah, I mean it was a crazy moment. Like I watched it back multiple times as well. I watched some casters POVs as well to like watch their reactions to it. Like it's just been so fun seeing all the reactions. Yeah, I mean also like every time I look at the clip, I like feel the adrenaline from that fight again.
It must feel good. So I mean, I'm not surprised that you watched it back multiple times. I mean, people have even called it like the faker TFT moment, basically, like the one of the biggest moments, you know, so far in competitive competitive history, really, for TFT. I mean, if you can remember back to that moment, you know, after that moment happened, you're going kind of into the next game, what's going through your head? Because this, so much adrenaline is probably gone through you. You know, we can see your kind of passion and what happened during that, you know, during that fourth game. Going into the next one, how do you kind of reset yourself after such a huge moment?
I mean, I went to the bathroom first. I remember that. I also drank a lot of water after that fight, because like I just had to hydrate immediately. I don't do anything special to like reset my mental or anything. Like some people like meditate in some way, which I don't really do. I just like it just like happens naturally for me. I think after like something exciting happened, and I know the job wasn't done, so obviously I knew I had to like sit back down and take it home, because like that was actually my objective after game 4. Like before, I didn't want to win that bad. Like it was more about like performing well. But then after game 4, I was like, wait, I can actually win this thing now.
In general, you weren't able to win the whole tournament, but you actually did end up with the highest points. So even if it wasn't a checkmate format, you still performed the best out of anyone else in that top 8. So technically, in our hearts, in EMEA hearts, you are still the best player, you know, in the tournament. Just give us quickly your kind of overall thoughts on your performance and kind of the tournament itself, you know, from start to finish, from when you first, you know, got into Vegas to, you know, when you kind of flew home from Vegas. You know, what was your overall thoughts on the whole thing?
Oh, the event was really cool. First of all, I really liked the hall that they did, the arena basically. It was pretty dark in there, which, you know, I felt pretty comfortable with, because usually I sit in the dark at home as well. So playing in the dark was definitely a comfort factor for me. There was like a player lounge like backstage as well, where the players could like watch the games that were being broadcast on the on the mainstream as well. I also the tournament went really smooth as well. Like there were almost like no difficulties at all. Um, uh, we mostly started at the exact like time that we were planning, and everything went smoothly. There was like no bad blood between anyone either. Like everyone was really nice. Like on day 2 in the first lobby, I was sitting next to Vigo ZE, who's like an EU player as well, who I knew from ladder, but I had never met him in real life, of course. And after the games were done, he was like, "Congrats, man! You deserve it!" Like immediately, just congratulating me, not even being too upset that he didn't make it or anything. I think there was just like, I think the TFT community is just like really wholesome and respectful in general, and it really showed in this tournament. Like everyone was so nice. I talked to Dish Soap briefly as well, which I kind of mentioned to him like it's kind of hard for me to like walk up to like big streamers and good players such as him because I have social anxiety, and it used to be a lot worse. I think I've gotten better at it, but like for example, like Soju or Kiyun, I was just like too scared to go up to them, basically, which obviously is no one's fault but mine. But yeah, I mean, it was great just meeting everyone. Going out to dinner with the German players every evening. Like hanging out with them, talking to them. I also talked a lot to Tartman from France, and some other French players as well. Yeah, I mean it was just great overall. Flying home was kind of, I was kind of sad to fly home because like yeah, it's been like it was the best event I've ever been to, really, not just TFT, just like any event in general. It's probably like one of the best weekends of my life. So yeah, also my like almost immediate thoughts after the tournament were like, is this my peak? Like, is it ever gonna get better than this? Because like, yeah, I had the highest points in the finals of the biggest TFT tournament of all time. Like, how am I ever gonna top this? Um, but like a couple days later, I realized, I haven't won a GSC yet. I haven't gone to Worlds yet. So I mean, there's still a lot for me to get.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that leads on really well to, to looking forward for you, because I think, previous to this event, I think, you've kind of been a player we've sort of regarded as being mostly a top 10 player at best. Having now set, your best performance, and being a career high. I believe we've got the tweet that Stuart mentioned here before saying, I just wanted to win something for once.
Mhm.
I remember being kind of a little kind of, wow, that's you know, I I guess this is really insight to your mind at the moment. I mean, looking forward, with this all in mind, how do you redefine yourself post Vegas moving forwards? And get that win that you're wanting.
I think like what I mostly learned from Vegas is like with the low amount of prep that I had. I think like honestly like prep group might be overrated a little bit. Like I think like having your own set game plan and like the trusting your own intuition might actually be better for me personally. It's better, or it's different for everyone else, of course. Like some people really learn from like VOD reviewing with others. I think for me it's just like, I mean, I've always been an introvert, so I usually like doing things by myself. So I think it's just yeah, it's just what I'm used to. And I mean, sure, I talked to Kerm a little bit, but like besides that, I only trusted my instincts basically, and I mean that's what I was looking to do going forward. I definitely feel like a more accomplished player competitively, which is always a nice confidence boost going into any future tournaments. Like I know what I can do. I know what my potential is, um, and it's just about like using that potential. And I think, I mean, I'm not looking to like redefine myself or anything. I think like I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing because it's been working for me. Like this last couple of year, this last year is what I mean. I performed like pretty well in general. I saw like Lornik tweeting his like EMEA leaderboard of players like based on competitive performance of the year, and I made it to 5th place, which I think I deserve, like looking at the performances of everyone. So you know, seeing that, obviously, like I thought to myself, I mean, I need to be like top 3 or something. Like I can't just be a top 5 player. I want to be like at the very top.
Yeah, going to the first GSC, because of course we've only got the 2 GSCs this season, with everything being shuffled around and put into a longer term form. How do you anticipate these 2 GSCs for this particular season going for you? Do you think you can get your first GSC title?
I mean, I definitely could. This patch has actually really clicked for me. I climbed, I think, about like 600, 700 LP on this patch actually, which obviously it's a long patch. So I mean, probably a lot of other people climbed that much as well. It's been like a month-old patch, but I think like after Vegas, I really like got a motivation boost just to learn more and like analyze more, like my own VODs as well, for example, which is what I want to do more, like look at my own VODs more, and not just other people's VODs, but like my own VODs, and think about what I could have done differently, maybe what could have resulted in a better outcome. That's definitely important, especially like tournament VODs. And I mean, I think I can get my first GSC win, but obviously with TFT, like luck kind of has to be on your side as well. But I mean, I definitely have the potential, so yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get there, or at least day 3 is always my goal when it comes to GSCs.
What about in terms of, I think Germany as a country as well, do you think Germany can kind of, keep up this momentum of, they've set high expectations now, 2 players at Worlds, really, really good, consistent players, like yourself, making it to multiple, day 3s of GSCs. What's your kind of thoughts on Germany as a whole compared to maybe the other, countries in the EMEA?
I think Germany is probably like the second strongest country after France. I think we've come pretty close to France as well, especially with like wet junglers and my performance recently. Like I think France still has like more players than Germany that can like reach those heights, I think. But I think we're getting there as a community, and I mean, I hope that we can like show some of the same results that we showed this set as well with 2 German players at Worlds. That would be great to see again, or maybe even 3. Who knows? Yeah, and obviously, I'm hoping one of those is gonna be me, and yeah, I'm gonna do my best to get there for sure.
All right, so to tie things up here, I want to kind of do a little timed capsule thing in saying, firstly, what would you say to the Kevin Parker of 1 year ago? What would you like to be able to say to that Kevin Parker, like knowing where you are now?
Yeah, I think what took a long time for me to accept and realize is that like TFT is not like other esports in the way that like for example in League of Legends there's no luck involved. So like if you lose, it's probably your fault, and like sometimes in TFT it's actually not your fault if you lose. Especially because there's so much variance in TFT, like from matchmaking to items to augments to like everything really. Like just 1 or 2 rounds of matchmaking can like bump you up 3 or 4 placements or put you down 3 or 4 placements. Which is kind of what happened to me in set 8 regionals in the second to last game. Like the lobby was really close and I got the worst matchup and I ended up 7th when I could have been like 3rd next round. So I mean that's just the nature of the game, and I think my mental as a player in general was not very good for quite a long time, just because I couldn't accept that, and I think I'm definitely past that point now, and yeah, low rolling is part of TFT.
Well, so let's look at it the other way then. So from the Kevin Parker of a year ago to what message would you like to send to the Kevin Parker a year in the future? What would you like to be able to look back on a year from now? What would you like to say to that future version of yourself?
If you were close, if you were that close to reaching worlds, then you can make worlds another time. That's what I'd say to him.
No, I think that's a great way to end it. Kevin, thank you again for your time. You know, I know it's really close to, you know, Golden Spatula Cup and everything. So myself and Counterfeit really appreciate your time, and we wish you good luck for this year for TFT Competitive.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.